My challenge is to revive a Camillus Cub Scout pocket knife by adapting and using readily available household materials. So let's take a look. Are the blades, tools, and knife components properly attached? Well, yes. How extensive is the rust and pitting? Well, it's not too bad. Are the tools moving freely, yet still hearing a click? Well, they're a bit sticky, but otherwise fine. I'm applying a penetrating oil to clean and loosen rusted parts. Working the tools until the actions of fluid and a distinct click is heard. Scrubbing with brush, cotton swabs, and toothpicks in a tub of water with dish soap. I dry right after cleaning. Manipulating the tool so oil can be applied. I use a food-safe NSF H1 oil or food-safe mineral oil. Checking to assure the knife works properly. Mechanically restored, I expect the actions to be smooth with distinct clicks. Patina is a thin layer that forms on the surface of steel with age and use. Carbon steel, having less chromium than stainless steel, shows more patina. Patinas are typically the result of oxidation and use, and can provide some rust prevention if kept oiled and maintained. A person wishing to preserve the unique character of this decades-old knife would probably proceed to sharpen the blade, oil, and then consider the knife properly restored. Because this knife has some pitting on the reverse side of the blade, I'll go on to address that issue, recognizing that I will remove patina. Using a mild abrasive baking soda with a wet cloth on some pitting. The blade is resting flat to assure it is not bent and to minimize injury. As I do not want to remove too much material from the blade, the scarring will remain a part of the knife's history. It's also a good reminder that we too carry scars, but can still carry a keen edge. The knife edge, however, is dull and abused and will require some initial sharpening with a coarse grit. It's good practice to reference the manufacturer for knife maintenance. From a 1946 catalog, Camillus states to lay the blade edge on the sharpening surface or stone, raise the back of the blade 1/8 of an inch above the stone, and sharpen against the edge by drawing it towards, as if cutting into the stone and then off the stone at the same time. On alternate strokes, sharpen the other side of the blade by reversing the operation, that is, pushing away. So, using some machine shop math, at what angle A are we holding the blade D? We know E is the height of the blade, or 1/8 of an inch. We measure D, the width of the blade, and that's 0.5 inches. We can calculate A, the angle we are holding the blade for sharpening. The sine of A equals E divided by D, or about 15 degrees. Therefore, when the blade is raised 1/8 of an inch, it is being held at 15 degrees. And pocket knife manufacturers typically recommend the blade be held between 15 and 20 degrees when sharpening. Recall that Camillus suggests the back of the blade be raised 1/8 of an inch above the sharpening surface. This is the 2-penny method for arriving at about 1/8 of an inch. A simple jig to raise the back of the blade 1/8 of an inch above the sharpening surface. But recall, my approach is to use simple tools that are easy to find. This sharpening surface is made using a smooth and straight length of hardwood. The wood is varnished, and pieces of varying grit wet-dry sandpaper are cut to fit and sprayed with an adhesive to stick to the wood. The grits I'm using for this knife are 220, 500, 1200, and 2000. Set the sharpening angle, place the blade edge in contact with the abrasive, applying light pressure, pull the blade along and off the side of the abrasive. I look for a consistent bevel from the tip to the end of the blade. Unfortunately, I still have some sharpening to do, as there is still some slight dings showing. And after sharpening with a 200 grit paper, this is the result. Progressively finer grits smooth the preceding grit. As before, stroke in one direction and then alternate in the other. And after using the 2000 grit paper, I'm using some 1200 grit paper and then progressively finer grits to remove some scratches. The knife edge is resting on the surface for protection. Camillus mentions the use of silver polish, a mild abrasive. No silver polish, then substitutions such as automotive polishing compound might be used. And with a little bit of belief, persistence, and adaptability, the old Cub Scout knife has been revived, yet still retains some of its history.